Cheers to Fake Breaks Retail Trading Team. This is Mastro coming to you live from Puppet Show Central with your routine briefing. Still don't have the camera, so sparing you the Mastro mug today once again. But I am here behind the screen, and we're gonna pop right into our briefing today. Lots going on, really exciting actually. 30-point IBR is the first thing that I'm noticing, so we're gonna get into it and see what we got going on. So very similar to last night's, I guess, the day prior, so 2 days ago's overnight session. You had that neutral inventory with that balanced look, not really much going on until the market opened, and then we were kind of off to the races. And today it looked like we were going up, so we did have an open drive bullish, one of those rare open drives, those high probability of trend. And what happened right at 10 when the University of Michigan consumer sentiment came out? Well, we completely reversed that. In fact, let's look at that. I'm curious what was the, if it was good news, bad news, or okay, so I guess let me look here real bit. So good news seems to have, at least so far, been bad news, and that is kind of going with the theme. And that is something that I will definitely not complain about, because you saw once again that perfect fake break. Entry for me was a little late, so it really started at about that 90-ish level. I didn't get in until 64.75, because again that's just kind of the signal. So that's right near the bottom of the Globex value. So we'll see what happens there. But what usually happens when you have these open drives reverse uh, completely, especially that complete unwind so early in the day, you often see the rest of the day the auction move in the opposite direction. So you can read more about those here. You just click on the link. These are all linked to neat little articles, and that will kind of help you learn more about what I'm looking for and what those opens mean. So today, open drive was super bullish, completely unwound with that fake break for now. We'll see what happens. So I'm tentatively looking at the TPO, which we'll look at together in a second, and I'm going to call it a trend just because of the nature of the unwind of the open drive. Yet it could definitely turn to rotation, so we'll be watching along the edges here what happens to see if the bulls don't come back and turn it into a bit of a rotational day. As it stands, we do seem to be trending down. So tentative, this TPO might change, and I will update that in the session later in the session if that's what occurs. You can see volatility is pretty darn depressed. So even right now, as we sell off, the VIX is red, V forward slash VX rather, still red. It's trying to go green as we speak. It's actually flat because as we're speaking, we're starting to make lower lows. But we're not seeing that pop in vol quite yet, despite the market being down 14 points. So we'll see what happens there. But you can still see that the volatility is not pouring back in. We're not crashing by any means right now. Could that happen later in the day? I mean, hey, anything can happen, and definitely would be welcome if we want to open the range up a little bit. But as it stands, we are still pretty tight and pretty depressed on the volatility side. So watch that. And as we move to the VX chart, I'm gonna live chart it today. We just had the symbol roll over, so we'll get a better look once we get to volatility. And then finally, the levels are really the same from yesterday. I'm not changing the levels whatsoever. I think everything remains the same. Maybe as we look at the TPO, we'll see what happens. I may adjust them a little bit as we go through the briefing here, but really, it's a very similar look to yesterday. We're still in that big consolidation range and waiting for one side to break it out. So that is the warm-up document available in the description of this video, uh, like all the other resources. So let's jump into the price action and see what the market is telling us today. I see Ernie in the chat. Face made for radio. Yes, that's what my mother always told me as well, Mr. Ernie. So thank you for affirming that, and that makes me feel very warm and fuzzy inside. Went short 41.87. Very nice, very nice. You got in way before I did. I unfortunately didn't get that signal um, quite fast enough, so I'm glad to see that you are already killing it. Runner running, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Love it when we're on the same team, Ernie. I don't know what that OJ juiceball guy is doing, but maybe we'll get. Yeah, I know, man. Maybe we'll get some insight from him. He was talking about Mr. Jamie Dimon, so maybe he'll pop in here and grace us with his presence. If not, we'll just keep going with the briefing regardless. So on the macro chart here, I'm going to move this supply zone up a little bit. What happened once again? Once again, we tested that trend line and still seeing the fake break below. Obviously, bulls are trying to recover this overnight low as we speak. And I need to actually move my stops up here to break even. Stand by. All right, and we'll see if we don't get that fake break on the other side here with this candle. So stand by. I'm just looking at my execution chart just in case. This will be a fake break on the bull side. Like we're going to get it, unfortunately. Buy. Yes, we are. So I'm going to go ahead and get involved here. The low. Far away is this POC. Right here. See what happens. Stand by. Just checking some mechanics. Making sure I'm not doing anything wrong here. Okay, looks correct. Can't say it looks good. I was hoping we were going to get that trendy look, but we'll see. So I already got flipped around. Does that change my assumption? Not necessarily. I'm just kind of following the signals. So we'll see what happens there. Watching kind of that 70 area, and we'll look at the execution chart here after we finish. But I want to stick with our regularly scheduled program first, which is looking at this macro chart. And you can see, again, we test that trend line. So far, rejected again. I drew these arrows yesterday, just kind of looking at those gaps above as we kind of push in that supply zone. So we will see if that holds. I mean, it's holding for now. Like I said, it's a really nice fake break. I did get turned around here long, but again, the unwind of that open drive right near that trend line is definitely a good look for rejection. So we'll see if that holds. Then on the downside, obviously, you have that lower trend line and, of course, the various SMAs. So it's pretty clear. Like as mentioned yesterday, it's really all about what happens with the various trend lines, and as we kind of consolidate in the same range. So macro isn't too important today, so we'll go right to the TPO and so we got going on. So as we kind of start to clean up these singles, each one could potentially act as support. So be mindful of that. But you're seeing another one's created here. It was just created on the bear side. So as we kind of pop back up there, that's right near that POC. 1 second, I'm about to get stopped, I think. Sure, everything is kosher, as they say. And there we go. So I got rope-a-doped, as my friend Ernie would say so far. So we'll see if that holds. Hate it when that happens, obviously. So yeah, so we're looking at the TPO here and watching each of these levels as we go through them. If you want to note them for your own personal trading, that's going to be right about that 55 level, and this one's kind of a zone here from 45 to 50. So plenty of potential support as we move down, and we'll see what happens. I have one trade left on the day based upon the morning's action so far. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, watching those singles, watching that level at 41.30. I think if that starts to go, and especially if we lose that low from yesterday, we could probably start to open up. And I think if we do go back and test that 4100 area, that may be all she wrote for the bull side as we kind of start a bear trend. So we shall see there. Just one more component, looking at volatility. Like I said, not really much is going on here, so let's just kind of chart this live. This is a new contract. It's got the rollover. So this is kind of what I'm watching in terms of the volatility channel. What happens with this descending, I believe it's called a descending wedge. We'll see what happens with that. And if we start to pop, what I'm watching today is really keeping it simple. Don't need to draw too many pretty lines and stuff. If we start to pop 2070 on the VX, so this is, by the way, the K contract, perhaps we'll see some extended bear move there. But we got a lot of singles to get through. We got a lot of bullish sentiment to overcome, and it's not looking like it's going to open up quite yet. So we will see what happens there. So just to go back to the warm-up document, these are the main levels I'm looking at. Pretty much the same thing as yesterday. I'm probably going to update a couple of these to include that 4120, but this will be updated in the next 5 minutes after I get off here, just to make sure it reflects all the singles and everything we were just talking about. So one more look at the chat here before I let you guys go. Interesting. Ernie grid strikes again. Good looks. Yeah, I wasn't looking at that earlier, Ernie, so I'm glad somebody's on the ball here. Cool. All right, so yeah, so that is our little price action for today. I'm going to push the newsletter out right after I get that warm-up document updated, and I will be on Twitch at the normal time, 12 noon, sending you all the best vibes into the weekend, and I'll also be on Twitter, as always, at Routine Trader, so please hit me up there if you want to engage as well. And in the comment section of this video, which, by the way, I'd really appreciate any likes because that helps with the YouTube algorithm. And that would be super great. So in any case, thanks for watching. Hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully we have a nice, fun trading day, and you stay classy until Monday.